Today we'll be installing our version 2 pullback risers. The main difference between version 1 and version 2 is that we've modified the design of the riser in a way that allowed us to eliminate the spacer between the brake junction block and the riser itself. Before we begin the actual installation, I want to go ahead and show you one of the clips that holds the cables on both the left and the right side. This can be a little difficult to get off, so if you can see it off of the bike, it makes it a little bit easier. So these are located about 1.5 feet down on the right and left side, and you'll be able to find it by just following your cables straight down. On later models, this one is a 2011, they don't use these. So to get these off, the best way I've found to do it is to slip a small flathead screwdriver in between the teeth, and on the other side you just lift up on the end and it comes open. That's the best way I've found to do it. As you can see, the right hand handlebar is stock, but the left side already has the pullback risers installed, so you'll be able to see what our end result is going to be. The install on the left side is exactly the same as the install on the right side. The first thing you're going to do, since this is an older model, is we're going to remove the brake junction blocks, and these are held on with one bolt. On later models, they eliminate these junction blocks and they just have a flat metal tab. The process is still going to be the same. You're going to have to remove one bolt to unattach them. So if yours uses an Allen head, you're going to want a 4mm hex. If yours has a bolt, then it's a 10mm. So we're going to go ahead and remove these bolts. Once you take out the bolt, you can just let it hang freely. Now I want you to go ahead and follow your cables down until you find this clip. If you have a later model, you will not find this clip. And I want you to pull slack, just gently pull on the hoses and cables until it's taut. And now we can go ahead and remove the handlebars. I highly recommend putting down a towel so that you can save the finish on your tank. You will have to rest your handlebar down on it. To remove these bolts, on some models they have black plastic caps. To get those off, the best way I've found is with a flathead screwdriver, a small one. Just put it underneath the edge and pull up. Just be careful not to damage the finish around the bolts. So you want to go ahead and remove these 3 bolts. You'll need a 6mm hex. You can either get them in a T-handle, which gives you the bit more torque, or you can do the L's. Loosen all 3. And then support the handlebar with your chest. And now you can take out the bolts. At this point, you want to hold it with your hand. Pull out the last bolt. Those 3 bolts that you just removed, you will be reusing, so keep them handy. Go ahead and set it in a way that it's not going to fall. Move the cables away from the bolt holes. I'm going to try and do this so that you can see. Take your pullback riser on the right hand side. You'll know it's the right hand side because it has this section cut out for it. Put it over the bolt holes. Take the longer bolts that are included in the kit. Put all 3 in. Now you can tighten these up. The torque specs are in the instructions. Take your handlebar. You'll see there's 3 holes. place it over those 3 holes. Take the 3 shorter bolts that you just removed, put those into the holes. The torque specs are in the instructions. We do not include additional bolt caps in the kit. Now we're going to attach the junction block to the pullback riser. On later models, like I said before, they don't have the junction block. They're just going to have a tab. And on later models than that, they only have the tab on one side. We include in the kit a longer bolt and a shorter bolt. The longer bolt is going to be for these large junction blocks. If you have just a tab, then you're going to use the shorter bolts that were included in the kit. Go ahead and put the bolt through the hole and then screw it into the hole that's in the back of the pullback riser. Included in the kit, these bolts need a 4mm hex. And then you're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the left-hand side. And at that point, the installation is complete. Don't forget to look at our ram ball accessory mounts, which are going to be a great way to mount your phone or other devices to your handlebars.